Hello everyone, and welcome back to Destiny. Today's video is a short rundown of the subclasses available at the game's launch. Firstly, the Sunsinger Warlock, the Warlock Solar subclass. Sunsingers are a very utility-based subclass with fantastic options for a strong offense. Radiance, the Sunsinger super, reduces grenade cooldown significantly and can even be upgraded to support allies as well. As such, the Sunsinger's grenades are all pretty decently powerful. The bread and butter of the subclass, however, comes within Radiance's final upgrade, which, as we'll see in a few moments, is the power of self-resurrection. You can imagine how incredibly powerful that would be. In fact, this makes them almost a must-have for endgame content, as mistakes are slightly less punishing. Now, last video I mentioned how ogres track decently well and do a lot of damage. Not quite the case when you are 25 levels above them, apparently. If you're playing solo, the Sunsinger is actually probably the class I would suggest you start out with once you hit level 15 and unlock it. Simply because grenades. The second subclass we'll explore is the Striker Titan, their Arc subclass. If you had to ask me what I would classify a Striker as, I would probably call them a support DPS in MMO terms. Their damage potential isn't quite as high as some other subclasses, but they do provide some decently good utility, especially in their first grenade option, the flashbang. As the name implies, if you've ever played an FPS game before, the flashbang disorients an enemy if it doesn't outright kill them, which leaves them just kind of standing there. Fantastic for survival. Their super, Fist of Havoc, as you just saw, it's a pretty damn good group clearing ability. It greatly outshines what grenades can do and has a much bigger range of effect as well as tons and tons of damage. Fist of Havoc is pretty fantastic when you're surrounded and have no other options, as you won't kill themselves like you will with grenades either.
Find another one.
And there's a little demonstration of how the flashbang works. Interesting to note is that Titans, their melee, is a straight up punch. So if you feel like running around and being the punch man, the Titan's your man. Or a woman, as the case may be.
This one still holds the codes. Let's find the array.
Next are Defender Titans, who use Void Energy to protect and buff their allies. If there were any truer analog to a MMO class, then the Defender Titan is to the tank. You'd be hard-pressed to find it in Destiny. Their super, Ward of Dawn, not only does it provide that huge bubble of protection, but anyone who walks through it also gets a buff, depending on which upgrade path you've chosen. These buffs range from taking less damage when you walk out of it, to getting an overshield, to my personal favorite, and the most useful in a raid situation, upgrading the damage your weapons do. As you might imagine, having 6 people all firing the high-tier weaponry into a critical spot on a boss is pretty fantastic. Another very useful tool in the defender's arsenal is their melee, Disintegrate. Of course, it's void damage, as void is the flavor of the subclass, but its upgrade path includes one in which it increases your reload and ready up speed dramatically. Weapons that normally take 2-3 seconds to reload instead reload in a matter of mere moments. It's very useful if you're a heavy weapon fan, as those tend to take the longest to reload. But with Force Barrier upgraded to reduce the speed of that, or increase the speed of that, you could probably imagine For our fourth showcase, we take a look at the Gunslinger Hunter. Gunslingers are mostly geared towards accuracy and motion, and their super is the truest expression of that. The Golden Gun comes with 3 shots, and as the name implies, is a one-shot kill on anything except for bosses. The upgrade path for Golden Gun isn't quite as spectacular as some of the other classes, but that's more than made up for by the fact that the base super itself is straight up overpowered, in most circumstances at the very least. The upgrades you can get for the Golden Gun include reducing the cooldown, which is probably the best option, as well as causing enemies to explode, that sort of thing. As if it wasn't overpowered enough already. Gunslinger Hunters can also buff themselves through repeated, rapid precision kills, increasing their reload speed, their stability, all sorts of things. You may notice we've ducked into the Crucible for this particular showcase. I find that the Crucible is truly the hunter's playground. Not to say the other subclasses, other classes in general, are particularly terrible in it. It's just that hunters thrive here.
More efforts like that, and we might just win this. Double kill.
Lastly, we come across the Blade Dancer Hunter, who value agility and stealth, as their arc damage cuts their enemies down.
Walk in the hive.
Blade Dancers are probably, if I had to guess, Destiny's ultimate damage class. During Arc Blade, Blade Dancers simply just become death. As you can see, they cut through everything.
Inside.
For a Blade Dancer, speed is the name of the game. Get in, kill everything, and get out. Some of the upgrades a Blade Dancer can get are mostly utility based, since Arc Blade does so much damage. Upgrades that are common to see include gaining invisibility. Short term, of course, but invisibility is invisibility. So thank you for watching. Our next video takes us to the Hive's summoning pits.